Hello and welcome to our Magical Garden DIY. I'm so glad you're here because today we're building something truly special, a Mickey Mouse inspired topiary. It's so amazing. This project starts with 6 hanging baskets. There's 4 in the smaller 14-inch size and 2 larger ones in a 22-inch size. And I would say make sure that when you pick out those baskets that you're choosing ones that already come with the coconut liners because that's actually going to be more affordable for you.
So now I have all of these, and we're going to fill them center to try and weigh it down a little bit. And I'm sorry I'm not as strong as I'd like to be. This is going to take a while. Here we go. Don't leave me hanging. Like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Questions. I'd love to answer them. But for today, we're going to take these hooks off.
One of the things you're also going to want to buy is zip ties. I wish I could go back and get the black ones from the start. I ended up having to go back and spray painting mine later. Lesson learned. I hope this will save you a little bit of time in your project. The part that I haven't shown you guys yet here is how we had to go about flipping the Mickey Mouse on top of himself. I was not able to get that on video. I'm still learning, please forgive me, but I will discuss that a little bit more later on about how we went about doing that.
I put one on the outside and one on the inside, and they've kind of locked. And it's pretty good, but I'll just put a couple of zip ties on here just to secure it extra. So let's do that now. I'm going to use these big ones. Because we have a lot of high winds here. Once I clip the bottom of that, you won't even be able to see that.
The part that I'm not showing you guys here is where we had to actually flip that giant Mickey in on top of himself, and we had to try a couple times, and we ended up doing these holes, as you can see right here where my hand is. We had to cut those holes in the bottom before we went ahead and called it good because we weren't able to get enough soil in there and keep it inside so that it didn't just spill all over the place. So in making those holes, we found that that was the best way to go ahead and keep that soil in there, but it also ended up working to our advantage for a few different reasons. One is that the watering of the actual plants that were going to stay inside of that giant section of the Mickey head, it allowed us to go ahead and be able to water those. It allowed us to be able to put plants in there. Later on you'll see this.
We're going to put a whole lot of weight in here. Soil is very heavy, especially when it's wet. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we can reinforce this enough so that it doesn't snap right off.
So what you'll see here is that I'm just putting a whole bunch of zip ties, hoping to go through that center because we are going to put a whole bunch of weight in here and I don't want these to snap off.
Are we excited yet?
And for the soil that I used 2 large bags of potting mix, and then I added extra perlite to help with drainage because I wanted to make sure that since it would be in the sun and I live in a hot and humid climate, that there would be good moisture inside of that soil. And I think that no matter what, that would be the case for a topiary design because the water is not really going to hold inside of there unless you had some extra mineral like perlite to be able to hold that moisture inside of the soil. So I'd say those things are key to making this project successful. So one thing to do would be to go ahead and take these chains off. That would have been the smart thing. Ladies and gentlemen, here it comes. It is the cake flip. You all have done it and tried it. Here it is. Just doing it with soil. Boom! There she is. Now here comes the trickiest part of the entire project. You have to balance your Mickey somehow while you gather the other ear to go ahead and place that on top. I wish I would have had another set of hands for this. Hopefully you can get a set of hands to help you. You can see here that I'm going ahead and I'm trying to get these zip ties wrapped around here, and one of the things that I'm also doing, you're going to see those little circles, is I'm trying to overlap them a little bit so that they actually act like a little bit of a clip on the ear, and I was able to get those clipped with a little bit of help from my husband. And then here I'm going ahead and filling those holes that I was talking about earlier with more soil. You can see it looks messy right now, but that's all going to wash off. And then I'm going ahead and cutting some different holes underneath and on top of these ears because I want the plant to really look rounded when it's complete and filled in and grown in. At the beginning it doesn't look like much except a cool looking Mickey, and during the day that's fantastic, but then I also went ahead and went back later after doing my plants and I went ahead and added some fairy lights that are solar powered, and I ended up using 3 strands ultimately. I had it for about a year now and I love it. I would highly recommend that you give this a shot. I used a vining plant that's also edible. The plant that I used here is called longevity spinach. If you haven't grown longevity spinach before and you were in a hot and humid climate, you want to get yourself some of this. It is delicious. It is a spinach, as it says. It grows prolifically. You can't eat enough of it to keep it down. Trust me, my husband goes through spinach like a madman, and this plant keeps up with our family's needs for spinach. So neat. So go check it out. Look up its medicinal facts. I am not a doctor. This is the last little piece I'm doing, and then I wait a little while before putting a final picture in here so that you guys can see what it's going to look like when it's actually filled in and grown. And here that is. Ta-da! It is so fun to look at our very own Mickey Mouse in our backyard. I hope that you'll give this a shot in your backyard or maybe one of our other DIY projects. And if you have questions, please shoot them down below. I would love to answer them and help you to make your very own Mickey Mouse topiary. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time. That is so cool. Isn't that so cool? I love it. Wow.
Whoa!
Okay, now just because I have kids running around in my yard and I don't want this rolling over on top of them, I'm just going to make sure that this is a little bit more secure up against the fence.